They're in an active counterterrorism fight right now, and they have been a phenomenal partner in the counterterrorism world.
Welcome to Khanversations. I'm Muqtedar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk about two narratives which are dominating the Indian media in the last 48 hours. One is a speech or a comment that the External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar made in Brussels, in which the media is interpreting as if he implied that Pakistan is Terroristan. I don't think that's what he actually implied, even though there is no denial from the Indian government or clarification of what he was trying to say. I will play that video and you can be the judge for yourself, and I will also explain how I understood his particular statement. But nevertheless, right now, the Indian media is going, shall we say, wall-to-wall coverage on how Dr. Jaishankar has referred to Pakistan as Terroristan. And the second is, and you can see I actually put together a collage to show you how much of an impact it has had on media coverage in India, that Lieutenant General Michael Kurilla, who is the commander of CENTCOM, he made an observation while testifying to the Senate Armed Forces Committee in which he described Pakistan as essentially a phenomenal partner in counterterrorism. So these two statements are obviously deserving of a lot of attention from everybody in India who worries about India's foreign policy, India's diplomacy, and India's national security policy, India's counterterrorism policy, India's relations with Pakistan. I mean, these statements obviously are of interest to them, but they should also be of concern for the Indian establishment, because it raises the question, is India's diplomacy, in which it is seeking to do two things. One is to basically make Pakistan a pariah state and marginalizing it diplomatically. And then number two is to make this label stick that Pakistan is a sponsor of terrorism, is a state sponsor of terrorism. In fact, Pakistan is synonymous of terrorism. In the past, Dr. Jaishankar has used the words such as epicenter of terrorism. And so if that is the goal of India's diplomacy at the moment, especially in the post-Operation Sindoor era, statements made by Lieutenant General Kurilla then completely negate India's efforts. So that is why these two speeches are very, very important. I plan to unpack both of them for you. And so first we will watch the two videos. They are very brief, but it's important to hear it from the horse's mouth itself, what they're saying, before I basically deconstruct them for you. And the second thing that I would like to do is basically explain to you what its strategic implications are for India's foreign policy, India-US relations, and basically the status of Pakistan in world politics. But before that, you know what to do. If you have not already subscribed to Khanversations, do subscribe to Khanversations, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share this video with your socio-political network. I also request that you could become a member of Khanversations if you would like to support it. One advantage of becoming a member is that I hold monthly Zoom meeting with my members and we get to talk face to face. I have got great ideas and good feedback from many of the members, and I have implemented some of those suggestions whichever ones I could. So anyway, here are the videos. Do watch them carefully, and then I will unpack them for you.
This is not a conflict between two states per se. This is actually a response to the threat and to the practice of terrorism. So I would urge you to make it, don't think of it as India-Pakistan, think of it as India-Terroristan. You will then appreciate it.
So first of all, Dr. Jaishankar, while hosting this press conference jointly with basically Kaya Kallas, who is like the foreign minister of European Union. She used to be the prime minister of Estonia. So in that, when he was asked about Indo-Pakistan relations, Dr. Jaishankar said, do not think of this as a conflict between two states, India and Pakistan. Think of it as a conflict between India and Terroristan. So the Indian media has interpreted this to say that Dr. Jaishankar is referring to Pakistan as Terroristan. Uh, but I don't think that's what he's trying to do. If you go back to his initial statement about his phone call to Pakistani counterparts when India started Operation Sindoor, Rahul Gandhi was very critical of that, saying, "You alerted the Pakistanis that we are going to attack." But in that message to Pakistan, the message that India was trying to send was, look, we are not attacking Pakistan. We are not attacking Pakistani military. We are not attacking the Pakistani state. What we are doing is we are just attacking these terrorist groups who are in Pakistan. So what Dr. Jaishankar is saying that there are these small terroristans in Pakistan, which is referring to as groups such as Jaish-e-Muhammad and Lashkar-e-Tayyiba. So these groups are terroristans which are based in Pakistan, and we are attacking them. So this is not an invasion of Pakistan. This is not an attack on Pakistan itself. Uh, of course, the subsequent attacks were on Pakistani air bases, but that was in response to the retaliation by Pakistani forces against India. So I think what Dr. Jaishankar is trying to say is that we are being very careful, we are being quite calibrated, we are being quite restrained and measured. We are not trying to attack Pakistan, we are just trying to attack Terroristan. That is the message that Prime Minister Modi was trying to send. But Dr. Jaishankar sometimes likes to make statements which then Indian media goes ahead and makes viral, whether they serve India's national interest or not. So in this case, if you read it as if he's trying to label Pakistan as Terroristan, and if that was the purpose of the delegations which came around here, Shashi Tharoor and his group was here for a week. They met with Vice President J.D. Vance. They met with senators. They visited think tanks, etc. So these groups have all failed because one of the most important generals in the US Army, especially the one who is in charge of the Middle East and South Asia, Lieutenant General Michael Kurilla, he doesn't see it that way.
Through a phenomenal partnership with Pakistan, they have gone after ISIS Khorasan, killing dozens of them. Through a relationship we have with them, providing intelligence, they have captured at least 5 ISIS Khorasan high-value individuals. They extradited back Jafar, who was one of the key individuals behind the Abbey Gate bombing. And the first person he called, Chief of the Army Staff Munir, was me, and said, "I've caught him. I'm willing to extradite him back to the United States. Please tell the Secretary of Defense and the President." So we are seeing Pakistan, with limited intelligence that we're providing them, go after them using their means to do that. And we're seeing an effect on ISIS Khorasan. At the same point, they are continuing to move around. Sometimes they'll try and go back into Afghanistan. We have the means to be able to collect, but for the most part right now, they're hanging out right in that border area of Pakistan. And I would also tell you that, since 2024, the beginning, Pakistan had over 1,000 terrorist attacks in the western area, killing about 700 security and civilians and 2,500 wounded. They're in an active counterterrorism fight right now, and they have been a phenomenal partner in the counterterrorism world.
He's not persuaded by India's arguments. In fact, he is not someone who's unfamiliar. He has traveled to Pakistan. If you just Google it, you'll find many of his photographs meeting with his counterparts. And in his testimony to the Armed Services Committee here, the Senate Armed Services Committee, he basically makes the point that Pakistan has been a very good, a phenomenal partner in counterterrorism, and he gives examples. So, for example, he says that the terrorist who was involved in attacking U.S. forces when the U.S. was withdrawing from Afghanistan, which led to the death of several U.S. Marines in Kabul, the Abbey Gate terrorist attack in 2021, August, and the mastermind of that was arrested by Pakistan and extradited. His name is Jafar, and he was extradited to the U.S. So he recounts in his testimony as to how General Asim Munir, Field Marshal Asim Munir, called him and said, "Look, tell your president, tell your Secretary of Defense that we have caught this guy and we will be happy to hand him over to you." So not only did Pakistan find the guy, who had killed Americans, but also arrested him and then delivered him to the United States. So this itself shows that Pakistan is a major partner of the United States in counterterrorism. Uh, and then he goes on to say that even though we were not able to provide full intelligence, what little intelligence we had, about various leaders from ISIS, the Islamic State, the Khorasan branch, ISIS-K in Pakistan. Pakistan was able to kill all 5 of them with their own means and filling their intelligence gap. So it's not just that it's acting on US intelligence, it is also generating its own intelligence. And what is important is that these are people who are threatening US homeland itself and other global attacks. So the US sees Pakistan as a partner in defending the US. And that is what came out from that testimony from General Kurilla. And that's why India is going to have lots of troubles in basically delinking US and Pakistan, making Pakistan a pariah state. Because if Pakistan is seen as a critical and vital counterterrorism partner, how can you then label Pakistan as a terrorist state when it is a critical partner? Clearly, from the statement that he was making, he seems to be very appreciative of the cooperation he's getting from the Pakistani military. He also goes on to say that most of the terrorists that threaten the US have been driven by Taliban. So he says something positive about the Taliban and says that they are the enemies of ISIS and they have basically pushed them to the border area, and therefore it becomes Pakistan's problem too. And Pakistan has been doing a good job. And then he also says that Pakistan since 2024 has experienced 1,000 terrorist attacks. And so he's trying to say that Pakistan is a big victim of terrorism. And if this is the view that American military has, then India's diplomatic goal and objective of labeling Pakistan as a terrorist state and then also isolating it becomes very, very difficult because Pakistan is not only a victim of terrorism, but has also become a very useful partner for the United States in its war against terrorists. So that is a challenge that Indian diplomats face. And I think this is going to be an uphill climb under this administration. He also refers to to a foreign policy objective. He basically says that this is General Kurilla, that the United States should not see India and Pakistan in a zero-sum manner, that if we are close to India, we have to be far away from Pakistan. So basically, the argument that India has been making, that we can be close to Russia and to America too, it is the same argument that Kurilla is saying that, well, both serve our interests, so we can have good relations with India and we can have good relations with Pakistan. We should not sacrifice our relations with Pakistan to advance our interests with India and vice versa. So that is a very telling argument. It sort of gives you an insight as to how the Pakistani military is thinking, and also some idea about how the Pakistani government, the US government is thinking about Pakistan. Donald Trump, in his first joint address, I mean, you don't give the State of the Union address in the first year, but he gave a similar address to the joint session of the Congress and the Senate. And in that, he specifically thanked Pakistan for handing over Jafar, the terrorist who killed American troops in Afghanistan. So I think in Trump's head, this thing has stuck that Pakistan is an important partner, and the word that General Kurilla has used is a phenomenal partner in counterterrorism. This is a new development. This is something we had not foreseen. For a long time now, we thought that China and Pakistan's proximity had created a distance between US and Pakistan, but suddenly now it appears that Pakistan is useful to both the superpowers. US finds Pakistan useful to dealing with the terrorist groups that are still in the AFPAC region. And China obviously finds Pakistan as a very useful proxy against India. So the challenge for the Indian diplomacy now seems to be as to how they can achieve those goals. Clearly, that was the failure of Indian diplomacy was visible during Operation Sindoor, when none of the countries in the world, not a single country, condemned Pakistan by name. Everybody condemns terrorism. That's not a big deal. Pakistan also condemns terrorism and so on and so forth, but nobody, in spite of all the efforts by Prime Minister Modi and Dr. Jaishankar, came out and condemned Pakistan by name. So if that was the goal of India, to make Pakistan a pariah state, diplomatically isolated, that has failed. And so these two stories are very, very interesting. If Dr. Jaishankar, if you take a subtle version, which I said, where India is fighting only terrorists, then in that case, India will find a lot of reception and there will be support for India. But apparently, if they were going to just target Pakistan and not the terrorists, and if Dr. Jaishankar meant Pakistan by Terroristan, then I think his efforts are falling on deaf ears, because at least the United States thinks that Pakistan is very strong ally and partner in counterterrorism, and President Donald Trump even recently tweeted that they have a very strong government. I know this will upset some people, but they have very strong leadership, and I have no problem in saying that. So I think India's diplomatic challenge in the post Operation Sindoor has become far more difficult. So we'll see how things proceed. We'll see what happens at the G7 summit when Prime Minister Modi comes here over the weekend and he gets to meet Donald Trump. Will there be a bilateral? Will there be a bilateral with Michael Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada? And we will see what issues happen. Will Modi raise the issue of counterterrorism? Obviously, it's already on the agenda, but will he talk about Pakistan, isolating Pakistan? It must be very frustrating for Delhi to see that IMF, World Bank, and Asian Development Bank continue to provide loans and assistance to Pakistan. And it also must be frustrating for New Delhi to see that their efforts to isolate Pakistan are falling on deaf ears. I think the Indian foreign policy, and I wrote an article about this recently in the Diplomat, which I have shared with my viewers. If you want to read it, you can find it in the community section. If you look at posts, you will find it is one of the third or fourth post is about that article, a link to the article in the Diplomat magazine, in which I've argued that Indian foreign policy in the past few years has been more focused on promoting Prime Minister Modi, and it has been designed more for domestic consumption. So even Dr. Jaishankar's statement is more about the popularity of himself and Prime Minister Modi and BJP at home than actually advancing India's national interest. And I think that unless there's a course correction, that Indian foreign policy and diplomacy focus more on advancing India rather than Prime Minister Modi, it will continue to fail at critical moments. So I hope you found this conversation thought-provoking. I know it must be difficult for people in India. There is a very jingoistic mood right now at home, and so they are not in the mood to listen to critical thinking, but my job is to provide critical analysis. And I think I have provided you some critical thought on this contemporary discourse that India is trying to push and how it is failing. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. So please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and support the channel. In case you're wondering where I am, I'm sitting in my backyard. So I'm basically hanging out with Sultan. Sultan is here. He likes to sit on the back porch, and the weather is wonderful. And so I thought maybe I will do this episode from the backyard, basically. I know the lighting is just not good all around, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Take care. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtedar Khan. Bye.